Welcome back to another episode of What's New Wednesday. It's June the 19th, 2024. We will be covering everything that happened between June the 12th and June the 19th in the world of big time, and a lot has happened. Let's get right into it. Topics. Token price touched all-time lows. Prestige bonus rows were disabled for nearly a week. There was a Friday hourglass Showdown crafting event. The Showdown finals tournament has been paused until leaderboard 4 is over. There have been some crazy end of leaderboard point boosts. Week 12, final week leaderboard challenges we have to go over. Big time patch point 3.0 came out this week. Hooray! And went live on Tuesday the 18th. The final midweek madness is here, and the final leg of Enchanters Crafting Festival is here. The final craftable special of this leaderboard. So, token price touched all-time lows. So we'll talk about that in a second. But before we get into that, last week I mentioned that if big time continued its way down towards the 100-day EMA, I expected to see big time continue down towards all-time lows. And if you look last week, here we were just sort of bouncing along the 50 EMA, and I was saying, we haven't touched the 50 EMA in a month, but odds are we'll hit the 100. We went down and we touched the 100 EMA, and that we saw big time follow the price action of Bitcoin quite considerably here. We also mentioned that if Bitcoin continues down below the 100-day EMA towards the 200-day EMA, that'll be crazy. But if we see that, then I expect big time token price to follow suit, and we might see new all-time lows be printed for big time. So let's take a look at big time. Here we were last week. We weren't looking super pretty. We were bouncing off the 15-cent support range here. I said if Bitcoin go down to the 100-day EMA, we'd probably break below it. We broke below it. We touched the all-time low of like 10 cents. Now we've rebounded a little bit here. This rebound is going to really depend on whether Bitcoin really rebounds, right? If we see Bitcoin go down below the 100-day EMA, then big time will probably at least retest the 10-cent resistance here, but it could totally break down below it. And if it does that, then it's uncharted territory. It could go down as far as 4 cents. So yeah, that's all dependent on Bitcoin, but we do have some good big time news, right? Patch point 3.0's come out, and that's going to generate a lot more hype. I expect to see more hype inside the game. That could result in more people playing the game, more people generating the token, higher volumes on exchanges, and it could also result in more activity in the secondary and rental markets. So all that to say, big time itself with patch point 3.0 coming out could generate enough hype to affect the token price and the overall sort of big time market a little bit. We'll see. But I still think that it's really going to be dependent on Bitcoin. So I think that the hype might determine whether or not we break down below this 10-cent support range. Like say if Bitcoin goes down past the 100 EMA, like to about 60,000, and it doesn't really break below 60,000, big time might hold that support at 10 cents and bounce off that. So that's my thoughts. Yeah, it'll probably go back up, but it's still like the hype is going to help. But if Bitcoin goes down towards this 200-day EMA, that could happen. And just a final thought, guys, like Bitcoin hasn't touched its 200-day EMA since October, which is back when big time's economy first came out. So it is totally due to come down and retest 200-day EMA, and that would be below 60,000, right? If we look back in the historical, right? So the last bull run of 2021, it hadn't touched its 200-day EMA pretty much since July, and it went up until May. That's way less time. That's like 3 or 4 months. So, and then it went down and crashed down below the 200-day EMA. So we could totally see that happen. We could totally see the Bitcoin price drop all the way down to the 200-day EMA pretty easily. It's due, and that's going to affect the whole crypto market, including big time. So just remember that. If we see Bitcoin price go down below 60K towards like 55,000, I don't really expect to see big time above 10 cents. I think we'll see it print new all-time lows. That's my guess, but do your own research, figure that all out for yourself. That's my opinion. Just an opinion. All right, next. 2 days after big time suspended over 1,000 players last week for using third-party apps to cheat, they disabled bonus roll rolls that affect big time drop. So this is a new thing. They said, due to bad actors abusing a bug, we will temporarily disable bonus rolls that affect big time drop. And the big time drops, all of the bonus rolls, like gold bonus rolls, token bonus rolls, all of those were disabled for nearly a week. They were just re-enabled today, Wednesday the 19th. So what's that? Not really sure what the bug was, but I don't think this could have come at probably a worse time. Player morale was already at an all-time low because patch point 3.0 was just looming overhead, and then combine that with terrible drop rates with the bonus rolls turned on. Players were like quite demoralized already and game was pretty dead, but then you turn the drops off. Now the players are hearing that people have been exploiting the game to get all the big time tokens, that the average player who was rolling for bonus rolls and all this stuff, trying to play the game properly, was barely getting any drops doing so. Hard pressed to get any drops. So I think it was another nail in the coffin as far as player base when it came to the last week. And after the drops got turned off, it was basically impossible to make a prestige party. It was even hard to make a normal party. So glad the drops just got turned back on, but obviously we have patch point 3 that came out, so that was a huge boost in morale, and hopefully we won't see a slump like this again for a while. Yeah, so people who were exploiting that bug were suspended, and apparently they were so mad that they couldn't exploit the game that they tried to threaten big time. So that's fun. So moving forward, that same Friday we had the final weekend showdown crafting event. It was for hourglass, time warden sort of crafting. There were 2 new recipes that you could craft hourglasses with. They were called the Showdown Boost Uncommon Hourglass and the Showdown Boost Rare. Those recipes, you could use uncommon schematics and rare schematics. Final thing, rare schematics and uncommon schematics, but difficult thing about this was that you also needed a bunch of infused paracore and lattice to craft the uncommon, and you needed saturated paracore and lattice to craft the rare hourglass, along with a bunch of big time. So it was pretty pricey and pretty kind of like difficult. On top of that, you would earn 50,000 points in the current showdown qualifier round, but that really doesn't really matter unless you're in the top 5 anyway, as far as I understand, right? So the only people who get showdown qualifier points are people who are in the top 10. So you would have had to already be crafting a lot of hourglasses for crafting these hourglasses to make sense. Okay, this is the final one, and then a couple days later, they said that they're putting a pause to the Showdown tournament until the end of Leaderboard 4, and I'm super excited about that because honestly, the Showdown stuff was just kind of getting in the way of Leaderboard 4 crafting events, and is really only an event for a very select few amount of players. So I'm happy that it's over and that we have a break until the end of Leaderboard 4. What are your guys' thoughts on this, especially if you're watching in the future, about all the Showdown business? Let me know what you think. Was it worth big time's time? Was it a good event? Are you excited for the finale? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, speaking of Leaderboard 4 and the end of Leaderboard 4, big time has started to put out these new crafting challenges that go until the end of the leaderboard. Starting on the June the 7th, they put out one that gave you 5x points on all leg crafts. This came out Monday, the day that they announced that patch point 3.0 is coming out on Tuesday. So they gave us a 24-hour notice on Monday. And this crafting thing, 5x points when crafting the legs. So this made me very sad because we have had no clue when Leaderboard 4 was ending, so I decided to craft my Stygian legs the same time I crafted my Stygian title because I was worried that I wouldn't have the resources at the right time. Otherwise, I was worried they were going to basically pull something like this, a 24-hour thing, and I wouldn't have the resources when I needed them. So I crafted it when I knew I had the resources. Well, if I had waited till literally the last day before they reset to patch point 3.0, I would have got a 5x boost on my Stygian legs, and I would have made almost 1 million leaderboard points. So that was sad, RIP, but hope everyone is able to take advantage of that, and maybe some people actually did manage to craft Stygian legs at the very last day before their schematics got reset. Hopefully someone was able to capitalize on this. But while we're still on this same topic, let's talk about some other things. So it seems every day since then they've been putting out something like this. So on the 18th, they put out a similar event thing where you get 5x points for crafting chest armor pieces. And then the day after that, today, they put out another one for head pieces. So it looks like this trend is probably going to continue until the end of the leaderboard. So hopefully you guys are going to be able to capitalize on all this. Just a reminder that all your crafts need to be finished before the end of leaderboard in order for the points to count. So if you start something on the last day of the leaderboard, you better expect to be rush crafting it. All right, on Monday, June the 17th, we got the final weekly leaderboard challenges. Pretty straightforward stuff. Complete 20 prestige portals for 3k leaderboard points. Craft 2 armor of rarities epic or higher, and you get 35,000 leaderboard points. If you are already trying to capitalize on these new 5x crafting things that they've been putting out, and this is going to be really awesome for you. It's an extra 35,000 bump. We don't know yet. And then the last thing is dismantle 3 stylish cracked hourglasses. So this challenge came out on Monday, right? And all of our hourglasses and schematics and mod chips, they got wiped on Tuesday at 7 p.m. PST. So if you were smart and you had the extra time wardens, then hopefully you're able to dismantle some stylish to get these extra points. If not, hopefully you have enough space and time wardens available for you to be able to collect 3 stylish hourglasses and dismantle them throughout this week. Okay, next. So yeah, on Monday at 7 p.m. PST, they put out an announcement saying 24-hour countdown, patch point 3.0 starts now. So on Tuesday at 7 p.m. PST, patch point 3.0 came out. All of our game progress got wiped. All of our schematics got wiped. And I personally went crazy. I took my big time liquidity pool off the table and I used it to start a whole bunch of schematics, try and use as many of my schematics as possible and get a lot of crafts going for that final push before they all disappeared. And yeah, I crafted all my egg schematics. I crafted several bunny ear schematics. I crafted a couple epic stove schematics. But yeah, so hopefully people were able to use up as much of their stuff as possible within that very small 24-hour window. I think it came as kind of a shock for a lot of people because it's the final week of the leaderboard 4. So why wouldn't they just wait until the end of leaderboard 4 to wipe? You know, that seems to make more sense. But like, I'm not really sure why they did it, but I would have to guess it's probably because Big Time has been so dead the past week, because nobody was able to play essentially to get prestige portals. Nobody was able to make normal portals. Everyone, their morale was super low. So I think they just decided to push it out because like the game was so dead. So they put out a Medium article and I'm not really going to go through it. It's a really long one. And honestly, it's just a giant bulleted list. You can go through and see all of the new features and stuff like that. They've made a lot of improvements this patch, but there's so many, I'm just not going to bother going through it. I do recommend, if you guys want to stay up to date on all of the things that are new, go ahead and give this a read. I recommend you guys just check this out if you want to stay up to date, all the things Big Time. Next, we have the Midweek Madness. This is the final Midweek Madness for Leaderboard 4, guys. Pretty straightforward. Completing prestige portals will award you 10x leaderboard points. It only goes from today until tomorrow, so I know I'm going to be running plenty of prestige dungeons tonight, but just doing prestiges don't really give a whole lot of points to begin with. So 10x points on basically nothing. Don't expect it to drastically change your leaderboard score unless you're doing like, I don't know, 20 prestige dungeons an hour or something, which I don't think is possible, but who knows. But anyways, do that. Get those prestige portals going. And then the final thing. We have the final thing, guys. The last thing we're going to be talking about is we have the final craftable from the Enchanters Crafting Festival. This is the final craftable special event. It started out with the rare Aurora Bloom shield. You needed 2 of those to craft the epic two-handed hammer. And then you need 2 of those epic hammers to craft this legendary two-handed sword. It's a really cool sword. I wish I could craft it, but I only crafted one of the rare shields because I didn't realize at the time that I was going to need 2 shields to craft the epic. By the time I realized, there was no more shields. So long story short, I didn't actually follow through on this crafting event, and I kind of wish I did, just because this two-handed sword looks really awesome. But just a reminder, in order to craft this two-handed sword, not only do you need 2 epic hammers, but you also need 100 augmented lattice and 30 infused lattice, as well as 480 big time tokens to craft craft this. You will get 5 times the leaderboard points on it. So if you've been crafting or buying rare shields, if you had 4 rare shields and or if you have 2 epic hammers, then this crafting event could be really cool for you. Hopefully some of you are going to be able to craft this. Congratulations if you did. I'm only slightly jealous, but congrats. I'm happy for you. And okay, that is it for What's New Wednesday, guys. This is the final What's New Wednesday of Leaderboard 4. So thanks to everybody who's been following along. I will cover all the things that have happened this leaderboard in big time. What's next for big time? Will there be other leaderboards? Will there be something new to replace it? We'll have to see. But either way, you can bet that I'm going to be here keeping you guys all up to date. So make sure you tune in next week. I will see you guys next week, and goodbye.